tuning in to the online broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello everyone, welcome to another Spotlight On. I'm Ashley Daniels, here with another awesome guest. I'm so excited for this one. She's such an old soul. She's a writer, she is a blogger for Lauren's List, which is an amazing lifestyle blog. She is a host. You're a newlywed.
I can still call myself a newlywed, right?
Like
a year and a half.
You're a newlywed.
I can be a newlywed forever, right?
I love it. And just a very friendly, down-to-earth girl. I'm here with Lauren Gores. And Ireland is your new last name?
I'm adding Ireland to it. Now I have a super long last name now. Lauren Gores, Ireland.
Lauren Gores, Ireland. Welcome.
I just decided to keep all three, so now I'm hoping people will be able to remember it all.
I love that. It reminds me of, did you ever see Father of the Bride?
I did, of course.
When they're like, they can't choose a last name.
I know, that's how I feel. I kept debating, I kept going back and forth, and I thought, well, you know what, I'm just going to be all three and hope that people remember it.
I think that's better than what they were doing. They were trying to change the last name by using the same letters and the...
Right, well, that could be clever, too. It could be clever. We didn't go that far, but you never know.
I like it, though. I like the double last name. It's, like, very important. It's like Dr. Seuss. Like, I felt like, what was it? I forget the name that he had, like a two names or three names or something. I'm forgetting now. Whatever. I'm just going way off topic.
Anything from Dr. Seuss is great. I'll take that. I'll take that as a compliment.
Okay, fine. So I want to get into. I just find it so interesting when I find someone that is a blogger, because it is such a. It seems like it would be easy, but I've tried it and it's not easy.
Because it's a lot of work.
Being consistent is the key to doing it, and not just taking any picture that looks a little bit, the quality of the picture is so important. Now there are hundreds of blogs that are out there, lifestyle blogs, beauty blogs.
Right.
Distinguishing yourself is not easy.
I know, and that is, still for me is the biggest challenge, is trying to create a space that really feels like yours. But I think that's what's really key, is that you just have to constantly be authentic, and you have to think, okay, who am I? What do I want to display to my readers? What do I want them to gain from that post and from the overall blog? And when you do that, I think that's the best way to gain really loyal readership, is by being authentic, because there are so many of us. I wasn't the first to come up with a blog. I certainly won't be the last.
Right.
And we all want to do so much with it, and so I think with every single post I do, and especially with all of the writing behind it, is okay, what is the message of that? So even if I might be talking about an outfit, which could seem a little bit superficial when you're talking about fashion or an outfit or whatever, but then it's what's the message behind that? And okay, why does that outfit make you feel good, or why is that practical? Is that a great date night outfit? Is it a great outfit to wear to work? So I always try to think of sort of this bigger message behind anything that I'm blogging.
And I can tell, because I look at so many blogs trying to find, anybody that looks like they're an interesting person to bring in and ask questions and find out what's behind the whole purpose of your blog or whatever. And just seeing that you actually can write is so big, because there are so many bloggers that they do become successful because the camera that they're using is an exceptional quality camera.
Right.
And the pictures are awesome, but there's nothing else. It's just basically you're following this person to follow the pictures that they have. But I've seen a lot of your writing now correct me, you have you're a contributing writer for this lifestyle.
I do, for the Chalkboard Mag.
The Chalkboard Mag.
I also contribute for them, and that's Press Juicery's website. And I do a lot of inspirational content for them, and I'm just now starting to do a little bit of fitness content for them as well. So it's always, I kind of try to always make writing, first and foremost, because that's, one of my first loves, as well as broadcasting. But it started as writing too. When I first started the blog, it didn't have any pictures. It wasn't that pretty. It was about a year and a half ago, and I started it more as a diary. I was working at that time full-time as a host, and I was working in broadcasting, and I just thought, I kind of want to have a platform to just share what I felt like was a look into a little bit of my personal life, and to make people feel like they weren't alone in going through something. And, when you're in your mid-20s, you're kind of going through a lot of a lot of things, you know, internally and trying to figure out, am I in the right career? Am I impacting people the way I want to be? And you're kind of starting to think about, okay, what's the life that you want to build and create? And so that was initially why I started the blog, it was honestly more like a diary. It wasn't that pretty, and but it was really honest. And then I, you know, about 6 months in, I thought, oh gosh, I love this. And that's when I did a site redesign, and now I work with a great photographer, and then it expanded into kind of being this lifestyle site and making the inspiration a part of it.
Well, you can tell the quality of everything. And I do want to get into that because I think it's interesting. There are a lot of people that are watching that want to create a blog, or they're just aspiring writers. But it's interesting because I don't know you. Now I know you, but now we go way back. But I didn't know you. So when I was researching you, I was reading a lot of your writing pieces, and it's like an old lady wrote this, like a lady who's lived. She's like 85. She's lived her life. She's like, listen, this is how I wish I could go back in time. The way you're like, take a second, take a breather, figure out, like, it's so inspiring. And I actually was really, I'm like getting lazy. I'm just relaxing, like reading your blog now, like not even doing any research. I'm just like, oh, I got to start doing that. And then
you're taking breaths, you're meditating.
And I swear, but in this town, you need that. You need to. So where do you get the inspiration behind that? Like, do you feel like you have chaos and you kind of needed to?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I've had really, really great teachers. I think that's probably first and foremost. I mean, my parents, you know, certainly they were really, really great teachers, and I learned a lot of really important lessons, I think, you know, young, and I wanted to share some of those messages. And I also grew up, you know, my mom grew up in Michigan, and she raised us in Michigan, and then my dad always lived here my whole life. So I spent a lot of time going back and forth between a small town in Michigan and then coming to Los Angeles and spending, you know, months at a time. And it was, I mean, the difference was kind of crazy. It was this really busy, hectic, fast lifestyle, and then it was a really slow Midwest lifestyle. And I had a lot of friends in each. And I think that's what initially drew me to journalism, actually, was that I realized what kind of all connected us were, you know, our stories. So regardless of any difference in lifestyle or, you know, background or whatever, it was our stories, and that was what really connected us. And so that's kind of what inspired me to go into journalism. But I think that, you know, that kind of taught me a lot. I have a brother who has cerebral palsy who also taught me a lot, and just like really, really reinforced, you know, how lucky we are to be able to have the privilege to do what we want to do, and to have your health, and your, you know, those are things to be really grateful for. So I think that helped in terms of the inspiration. I think all of those things, you know, probably played a part.
Well, you just nailed it. You actually just answered the question so perfectly by saying you had some time of, you know, your life was LA and it was Michigan.
Yeah.
And that's kind of your blog. So your blog, Lauren's List, for anybody that doesn't know, Lauren's and then List is Lyst.
You got it, with a Y.
And it is a blog that is dedicated to helping people kind of, correct me if I'm wrong, but just kind of put some glamour in their life and kind of make their life be a little more, take the ordinary and make it, you know, fun.
Exactly. That's exactly what I wanted to do.
Like your life. You probably had such different upbringings when you go here and you go back there. And it's kind of like a balance in your blog in a sense. It's almost like you didn't even mean to do that, but it's like your blog is totally the best of both worlds.
It is. No, certainly I do. I mean, that was what I've always set out to do, is, you know, I want to try to appeal to, you know, to people everywhere, and I want to make any of my advice, you know, really practical and applicable, and I hope that I do that. I mean, that's always my goal, you know, in doing everything. So it's, you know, I always say try to add a little luxury into your everyday life, and it doesn't, you know, things might look really pretty in a photograph, and it can feel a little intimidating. It feels, I can't do that. And then when you really read into how you do it, it's actually quite simple. It's just, you know, there's a few quick, you know, simple tricks that you can do, and I've just kind of picked those things up over time. And also, I'm not super domestic. I'm the first to admit that.
You're kidding me. I think you are so domestic.
No, I'm not a crazy, phenomenal cook, and I'm busy with working all the time. So there's, you know, I was never this, you know, I was definitely not a natural born Martha Stewart, you know, but I really appreciated, you know, for things to look really great in my house. And I always love to create, you know, a dinner that looks beautiful on the table. And so I learned a lot of really great tricks and things that were fast, so you could make, you know, create this really beautiful lifestyle, but have it not take up all of your time. And I mean, let's be honest, everyone is working, and they're, you know, no one has a lot of time to be cooking a long meal all day and then making it look beautiful on the table. And, you know, I think we all wish we had that time, but we just don't. So with anything, you know, that I do on the blog, I do try to make it so that people can do it, you know, fairly quickly, so that it's pretty easy if you aren't a DIY queen or, you know, any of that. And a lot of it is in presentation. And my mom was really great at that. You know, she taught me a lot of it is presentation. You know, you're busy when you're raising kids. And so a lot of it is just, you know, it's kind of how you present it. that's that's at least with the blog, what I kind of try to show people is, you don't have to spend 3 hours doing this. You can spend 20 minutes and, really make something look great.
And I think you've done it. I mean, this website is honestly, like I said, I look at least like 50 of them like a week, and it stood
I'm so
out.
flattered. Thank
I just
you.
think, and it's so interesting. And so now going back a little bit, so you obviously you love writing. You wanted to do journalism kind of growing up and everything. Now, was there any time in your life that you, aside from obviously you mentioned your brother briefly, but was there anything else in your life that you felt like you wanted to send a message out? Because it seems like you're kind of you're family oriented. Your wife. Is there anything that was dancing? Was there anything in your life that you did other than that?
I mean, that was primarily. It's funny because for as long as I can really remember, it was always writing. I mean, that was such a passion of mine. I mean, even as a kid, I loved to write, and I used to write all these poems. And I remember my parents would sometimes be worried because I'd write these deep things, and they're thinking like, "Gosh, you always look so bubbly. Like, what's going on in that mind?"
Oh my God.
I don't know.
You've always been this way. So
it was really bizarre. But I loved it. And it was such a passion of mine. So I used to think I wanted to live in this faraway place and just write the rest of my life. And then I grew up and I became a little more social. And I thought, okay, you know what? I really loved broadcasting. And when I was in high school, I started getting involved in the local broadcast. It was the high school broadcast station, and started doing that. And then I went to college for it, and then eventually moved to Missouri to do it, as a first job. But that was really, I mean, the writing really was, I think, most at my core. And then, what made sense, especially when I was trying to choose what direction, is, broadcasting made sense in terms of a career I could really build from it, and something I loved, and I liked, to public speak. But I think a part of me was always hoping, it still is hoping, that whatever I do can lead to just having a voice. And I think, a lot of us want that, and I hope that I'm able to inspire people and motivate people, and know that you have to put a lot of hard work in, but you can get where you need to go, and we live in a country that allows you to do that, which is also phenomenal. So I think if you kind of keep all of that in mind, you can get where you want to get.
Yeah, I'm so in awe of you. Just the fact that you're in your 20s. It's amazing. I'm like literally like I've never met anybody with so much wisdom at such a young age.
Thank you.
Now going to your hosting, you've done a lot. It's amazing how you've in the midst, and being a writer, you've found the time to accomplish so much in the hosting world. So congratulations for that.
Thank you.
Amazing.
That was a focus for a while. I mean, now I'm able to focus a lot more on my writing because I've made that decision.
Yes.
But I will say there was a point in time where I wasn't doing nearly as much writing. I mean, I was really just focusing on broadcasting, because I'm such a believer that you have to give 100%, when you kind of give 80%, and, you can't always get to where you want to go. And I did, for a little while, I was trying to balance too many things at once, and then nothing was really moving forward. But, but yeah, after college, I had entered this competition.
We've been chatting about. I want you to tell everybody this. This is so interesting.
When I was in college, I saw a flyer on, it was in a college hallway, and it was to put a reel together of your broadcast work, and it was through Magid, which is a consulting agency. And I sent it in, and this was probably in April. And in June, they had sent in a letter that said, hey, you're going to go on our main reel. We send it out to news directors, all over the country, and if they're looking for talent. And I thought, okay, I never really thought about it. And I took a couple of months off after I graduated and just kind of traveled and things. And then in August, I get a phone call from the news director in Missouri at a station called KMIZ. And they said, we're looking for a reporter. Would you come in and interview? And I remember I Googled like where in Missouri I was going, because I had never been there. I'm like, oh God. And I was living in LA at the time. And I'm like, okay, Missouri. Like, I can do Missouri. I could do it.
Hilarious.
And, it was a small town, but I'm from a small town. So I was, it was okay. So I went, and it was an amazing group of people. I ended up creating this whole family, but I went in for the interview. It was a great interview. And I mean, I've told this story before, but the news director was really honest. He said, you're probably third on my list when it comes to experience.
Who says that?
He's phenomenal. He's one of the best,
I'm sure.
the best individuals I've ever known.
But I would just, my heart,
but you know what? He said it in a way where it didn't. I mean, it was actually, it ended up being in a very complimentary way. It was, it was initially third on his list in terms of experience. I didn't have as much experience as some of the other applicants had. I was 21 at the time, and I just didn't, and I looked like I was probably 15, so it was, I'm sure they're thinking.
Nothing's changed. Still
I'm sure
looks
they
like
were
a baby.
like,
I love
we're
it.
going to put her on the air. But, we had this really great interview, and he ended up calling me back, and he said, I think you displayed this work ethic, and I really want someone who can work really hard. And he really taught me and was really the first person to give me that confidence that I could really work my way up, and that if you work really hard, you can get to where you want to be, but you have to put in 110%.
Right.
And I was really committed. I didn't have any family or really friends there in the beginning, so I was able to to be really focused, and really focus on that. And that's what kind of always led to my belief is, none of us are going to begin as the best, but that doesn't mean you can't become one of the best.
That's one of the quotes I wrote down that you said. I thought that was so
I know, it's a favorite. But I really learned that there. They really taught me that. So I started reporting for them, and I did that for about, I think, like 6 to 8 months. And then a morning anchoring position opened up, and I was able to take that.
1:30 a.m. call time.
1:30 a.m. call time.
Crazy.
It was insane. I was going. You talk about old lady. Oh my gosh, I was really an old lady then. God. I was like, my bedtime was 6:30.
I don't blame you.
I was up at like 12:30, like putting makeup on in the dark. I mean, it was crazy. No one was out on the streets at that time. But it was. I mean, it sounds so crazy, and everyone's always like, oh, Missouri. What kind of brought you there? But it was a phenomenal experience. It taught me so much. And when you anchor for a news channel in a small town, there is no better feeling. It really, you feel like you have a family and a support system, and they really were. And I was really sad to leave. It eventually got to a point where I really needed to move here to progress. But it was such a great experience, and I feel like that gave me the confidence, going there and making a lot of mistakes and saying the wrong names on air, live.
Of course.
You're learning, and it taught me a lot. So I have a lot, to credit them with.
I think that's amazing that you were able to do that and move. I mean, it's scary moving away from your family.
I know, to a town, that you haven't been to, but it was good. It really made me grow up.
Definitely. We all have those moments. Something we have to do. We realize it made sense later on in the game. So
exactly.
I
it's one of those things when you're in it and you're thinking, okay, can I get through it? Can I get through it? And you can. It's just it might be long hours, but the reward then ends up being so great. And I think that's what you kind of have to keep telling yourself. But and then you evolve. I mean, I'm doing something a little bit different now. And so, but it's okay. I mean, all of that kind of led to what I'm doing, and it, yes. we all change and we all grow. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. And now your brides section, there was a brides trailer that I saw.
I did, for Brides Magazine. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's something that I already did.
Okay, but is it still something that because I thought it'd be a great show.
I know. I should pitch that to that. I should be like, let's make this just a show all the time. I know.
We'll talk after.
It was a great. I did that last year. I don't know if we'll have another one this year or not. That was shot in the late spring, so we'll see.
For everybody that doesn't know, though, this was Brides $1 million. The
$1 million wedding.
$1 million wedding.
Yeah, and so couples will send into Brides Magazine. They'll send in applications, and then it's narrowed down to 3 couples, and then you have this it lasts for a couple of months, and we film over a few weeks, and these couples are competing to win this $1 million wedding, and it's fun competition. It's nothing nothing mean, and it's really supportive of all of the couples, and they're doing fun competitions like building cakes and going wedding dress shopping, and you get to follow them along on this experience, and then America gets to vote. In the end, and then we have this live wedding. So I was able to host that last year. That was with Kelty Knight, who hosts for The Insider as well, and they were a great group of people. So that was a lot of fun.
Did you do this pre-wedding for you or post-wedding?
This was right after my wedding, so I felt super knowledgeable. By the way,
it was right after my wedding. Right after your wedding.
I mean, it was right after my wedding. I felt like I can do this. Like I knew all about weddings. Yeah, and it's like you understand the stress of a bride, and you're calming down the couples, and because it's stressful and it's a lot going on, and you're trying to plan things and please families, but that was really a lot of fun because I had just gotten married, so it was fun to be able to guide these couples through that journey.
How did you meet your husband? Now
college.
Oh, okay.
Over a game of beer pong, which is super romantic.
University?
Yeah, Indiana.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah, IU is where we met.
Wow.
So yeah, college sweethearts.
Where'd you meet again? At a football game, you said?
Over a game of beer pong.
Oh, over a game of beer pong.
Yeah, I don't know, a football game or I don't know which one's more romantic, but it was beer pong. And
listen, you are so funny. I can't even take it. She's like the girliest girl ever. That would be like, I can't, but I bet you kill it in beer pong. I bet you're amazing.
I think I did like a celebrity shot. You know how you can do. Yes, I think he was playing.
You come in and help out. Yeah.
Right. So luckily, I think I made that one shot because I'm actually not stellar at it.
I'm pretty bad at it, but I'm so impressed right now.
But I think that it's a very Indiana way of meeting. You know what I mean? It was a very college way, but no, it was a lot of fun. I always laugh when I tell that story.
You off your feet at beer pong.
And then we've been together ever since, which is crazy.
He moved to. I'm guessing he lives here. LA?
Yeah, he does live here. Okay. Yeah. So we did long distance for quite a long time, and then we eventually, we were finally in the same city and same state about I think 5 days before our wedding day. So we were cutting it close.
That's unbelievable.
We did a lot of traveling for a long time, but
and is he in the entertainment industry as well?
He is not. Okay. No, he's more on the business end of things. So he has a number of different ventures. It's great, but we actually end up kind of collaborating on a lot of things. So it's funny how it's 2 completely different industries, but I feel like so many couples. I know you were saying the same thing with your boyfriend. You end up collaborating, and that's a really cool thing that that, it's new for us because we've only, been married and living together for a year and a half, but it's been a really cool experience of being able to collaborate on different projects.
Listen, I'll tell you, I've been with my boyfriend for 13 years, but I'm like thinking to myself, I just can't imagine like starting to live together and having, like, your whole life is brand new in a sense, like your marriage, you're living together. That's so interesting. And
by the way, 13 years is totally impressive.
Yeah, that's really weird.
That is impressive. I mean, 13 years.
I'm a saint. I am a saint, I'll tell you. No, he's amazing.
Are you asking for Jory anytime soon? I won't put you on the spot, not on live TV.
Please. He's so normal, I'll tell you. And in LA.
That's incredible.
Finding someone normal, I mean, your guy's not from LA, so that makes sense. So.
I feel super lucky I am not in the dating game here.
Steven's normal. Steven in the booth, he's very normal.
All right, so should we bring him out here so we can show everyone? Show everyone who's available.
I don't know if he's available, but he's normal.
Oh, okay.
I just say,
I spoke too soon. Okay.
Yeah. Might be. I don't think he's available. I don't know. He just walked out, I think. So now, what is the future of Lauren's List? It's still your little baby. It's still new.
It's definitely still a baby.
Really well. Yeah. I mean, I see a lot of things. I should have been a manager because I see like 100 things. But for you,
all right, well, maybe I'll call you after this. You can manage me.
Yes. What do you see for the future of Lauren's List? Are you thinking TV?
I do. I really would love. I mean, broadcast is still such a huge love of mine. So I left the traditional sense of it a little bit for now. But I really would love to incorporate, the blog and my love for this lifestyle content and incorporate that with my hosting work. I mean, that is certainly a huge dream of mine. And then, like super, super big dreams. I mean, I would love to create, items out of the site that I think people would love and that I'm passionate about, whether it's some kind of a lifestyle line or, fun party planning ideas for people. And I don't know, maybe my big dream is a book one day. I dreamt of doing that way before I had the blog. I've just always wanted to write a book because I love to write. So
I have to interrupt and tell you, I looked for so I thought you had written a book because
I
just
wish.
assumed,
it's on my bucket list.
I just assumed you did because
Thank you.
It just ties in with your brand.
Thank you.
So I looked for your book for like 10 minutes. I'm like Amazoning it, and there's no book. I'm
like, where is the book?
But you totally this.
Well, I want one coming. I mean, it's certainly on my bucket list. I think it's just kind of determining what exactly. It's what direction, and it's building it. It's just getting more and more people to see it and to read it and getting that out there. And again, there's so many of us who are blogging that until you get them to your site, you have to convince them on why it's good to go there.
Yep.
And then I think you start getting the loyal readership, at least that's what has proven to be true, but it's just about getting those people there. And that's always, a little bit of the hardest part.
That is the hardest part for sure. But now traveling, you do a lot of traveling. You were saying that you did some traveling before you.
I do. I do quite a bit of traveling. No, I did a little bit after college. And I do quite a bit now, actually. I travel a lot with my family and I do travel quite a bit for work as well. So I'll do fun blogs on that. I'll usually post.
I was going to say, people live vicariously through bloggers and their life. So
it's funny. They're always the ones that I kind of put the least thought into in a way because they come so natural. You're sharing photos from a trip that you went on, whereas my other content, you're more setting up shoots or whatever. So it's funny though because they are always some of the most read, and I can't be traveling all the time. I can't constantly create travel content, but it's really funny how people my readers have really loved to be part of those trips. So I'm hopefully more travel will become a little bit easier for me. It's hard sometimes the timing because you're trying to balance getting your work done from home and then traveling kind of adds that extra busy layer, but it is something that does well. People like to read about it.
No, they really do. And I think also people your age that are newlyweds as well, and like you said, with the cooking and you're not perfect at it, but you're trying. And it's nice to have somebody that you can relate to that kind of understands, like they're on the same page as you and they're like, listen, I know you burnt the turkey, but here's a way to fix it.
Oh gosh, I've burnt so many things. I know. And that's
really
the thing.
Cool.
I wanted people to feel like they had someone to relate with, know, and that they feel like they weren't alone. And that was with anything. It was kind of with a lot of the lifestyle stuff and then also just kind of going through these career thoughts. And I think everyone in their mid-20s, I mean, I say everyone, I don't know, maybe it was just me, but maybe. I think I went through this thing of, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Am I on the right path? I mean, everybody, and I don't know if it lasts longer than, I don't know if it goes beyond the mid-20s.
Please don't say it.
I don't know. I don't know how long it lasts, but I definitely went through that. And so I wanted to kind of write about it so people didn't feel alone, because I thought there's no way I can be the only one. Because I think right after college, I you're willing to do anything and go anywhere. Right. And you still have a willingness to do that, you know, obviously through your 20s and even into your 30s. We all have to be willing to do whatever. Right. But you just want to know that when you're kind of doing anything, that you're at least creating a path that you want to be on, and you're starting to build a life that you really love and that you're passionate about, as opposed to just kind of going through the motions. And then, you know, I didn't want to wake up years later and think, oh gosh, I hope I wasn't just going through the motions. I really wanted to feel like I was doing my best to reach people. Yeah, well, I definitely feel like there's girls that look at you like a big sister. There's girls that look at you like a best friend. You know, you're so relatable on so many different levels. And like I said, like that's why I think your blog really stood out, and the content, and the, you know, it's a beautiful blog too. You obviously took the time to put the time into it. Thank you. Yeah. So now, is there anything for people that are, you know, maybe themselves, they want to do blogging or they want to host, or do you have any inspiration or anything that maybe you were taught by, you know, teachers or your family, or anything that you want to share? Yeah, I think, you know, the biggest thing is, and especially with blogging or with hosting, actually, you watch, when you want to do something, you sort of tend to look at all of the experts and you watch them, and then you almost become a little intimidated in a way, and you think, oh gosh, they're already, you know, all the way up here, and I'm down here, and I don't know how to get there, and it can almost feel a little intimidating, and then you don't want to start. Right. You know, and I've done that before, and it's, you know, I look at so many blogs, and I look at a lot of big broadcasters, and you want to get to that certain point, and you feel like you can't really get there. You know, you feel like, oh, there's too far for me to go. And I think one thing that I learned was to not be so concerned with that. And sometimes you almost have to close the curtains on it a little bit. And it doesn't mean don't do your research or don't look at what other people are doing, but I think you have to start really listening to yourself, and to just kind of gain that confidence, and to just begin, because it's nothing is going to start out super pretty. And the same thing, I mean, both with my broadcasting and with my blog. With broadcasting, I was a 21-year-old reporter that made a lot of mistakes live, and it wasn't pretty. You know, it definitely was not pretty. And then it ended up being much prettier because it was on a news desk, and it was, you know, I had a lot more professionalism. And the same thing with my blog. It was not that pretty of a site. It was a really basic WordPress site that didn't cost me anything to start, and I just started to write. And I didn't know where it was going to go, but I just started, and I did that for about 6 months, and I shared it with my friends, and I wasn't overly concerned with, you know, trying to be like every other blogger. I just was concerned about writing. And then, you know, and then obviously over time you end up getting better, and you build and you learn about that industry, and it becomes something, you know, much more professional. Yes. So I would say that's probably my biggest piece of advice. I have to still tell myself this all the time, because I mean, look, we all do it. We all have social media. We start, like, you know, stalking a million people. Maybe stalking is a terrible word, but
that's probably the right word. Okay,
we
all
always
do comparing ourselves. I think that's
right, and
really
it's
important.
because there's all of these platforms to do that, and it's so hard. I mean, everybody does it. It's no one. You don't want to compare yourself, but you can't help it. I mean, it's so visual, and it's, you know, it's, you see how many followers and likes, and you know, you see all of that, or you see into this, you know, a certain type of lifestyle, and I think you feel like you want to compare yourself, but you just have to. You can't go there. Right. No. And again, I have to tell myself the same thing, but that's probably my biggest piece of advice. That was one of you said during, so you did that's so cool, by the way. So your high school invited you to come be the speaker at your high school. Yeah, that was really like the cool. Ultimate. That was amazing, and I loved that. You're like, wow, they liked me. They really liked me. Oh my God, I was shocked when I actually, genuinely was really shocked when they asked me to come back, but it was so special. I loved my high school so much, and it was in Holland, a school called West Ottawa, and they were the first to really introduce me to broadcast, because they have a news station there, and they had asked me to come back. This was last June. It was during the graduation season, and they had asked me to come back and kind of explain, you know, my journey, and you know, kind of how I got into the broadcast area, and some of the writing, and how I started out there. And it was that was probably one of the biggest honors, and I hope hopefully I'll go back again one day. But it was such a great speech, and you had to tie in so much social media, because you know that other than that, people, I know, you're talking to a different generation now. I know. I have younger siblings, and I mean, it's like always on the phone. Everything is it's crazy. But you said comparisons destroy us and our talents, and I found that so so much. There's so much thought behind that, because we compare ourselves so many times, and just comparing yourself to your best version of your own self is probably just the only thing that you can do that's actually like a healthy comparison. Right, right. You know, when you're doing it, exactly, like when it's inside your own self. But I agree. I mean, it's just when you start comparing, you literally destroy every talent you have, and you just have to keep telling yourself. I think it used to be probably a little bit easier to not pay too much attention to everybody, because you didn't really have to. You'd have to go out of your way. You either have to look in a newspaper or look something up, and now you can't avoid it. You know, it is everywhere, and if you're not on those platforms, you also can't really reach the success you need to, and that's the bottom line. I mean, you can't just not be on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook.
Right.
You know, at least not for what I'm doing. Certainly not. You know, you have to, if you want to reach people, you have to be on those platforms. But you just have to constantly remind yourself to not start looking, you know, at a million other people, because you're never gonna. You know, it goes back to that like old saying we all hear. You know, there's always someone prettier and smarter and faster and
especially
more athletic.
In LA.
And, you know, yeah. I mean, there's always. So you can't just like, you know, yeah, especially in LA.
God,
you know, everyone's trying to make it.
Everybody.
So,
but you're doing an amazing job. I commend you. I
Thank
think you just have so much wisdom in this little body and this little 20-year-old. It's amazing. And
I would like to be 20 again.
Well,
I'll take 20.
And I am excited to continue to look at your blog and to
Thank you so much.
meditate now. Now I can find my inner zen thanks to you.
Exactly. You know, practice gratefulness, all of those things.
Is there anything that you want to share with people listening right now? Anything else before we close up this?
No, I know. I think we covered everything really well. I just, you know, if anyone wants to go to the blog, you said it, it's laurenslist.com. And I hope that what's that?
Oh, sorry, I was going to say Pinterest too. Do you have anything with Pinterest? I just thought of that now.
Yes, I do have Pinterest. It's all under, so it's under either Lauren Gores or Lauren Gores
Okay,
Ireland.
I was going to say you probably have the best Pinterest boards ever.
So if you can go and kind of look that stuff up too. But yeah, it's just, I hope people come to it, and I hope they feel, you know, motivated and, you know, inspired both to bring a little luxury into their life, but then, you know, also to really create a life that they're happy with.
I love that. That's a great way to end this. I don't think I could say anything better than that. Jeez.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
And you
loved being here.
can, so Twitter, everything is at Lauren Gores, correct? Okay.
At Lauren Gores.
Awesome. Fabulous.
You got it.
And you can find me at Ashley Daniels on Twitter and Miss Ashley Daniels on Instagram. And thank you for watching another Spotlight On. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Thanks.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.